If you go around the state today, the most talked about name is Segun Oni. Whether you are the taxi, on Okada, at the marketplace, there is no singular human being, just as it used to be with our law. Segun Oni no daruko everywhere. And me, there be a place of about 1 kilometer radius. In a day, to an daruko Segun Oni as many times as possible.
Mommy Bosse, Daddy Johnson. Mommy Arena, Daddy Toko, Atomo Tagalagba, Daddy Arena,
G on the beat.
Segun Oni ni Shekoduo.
They don't even care about their governor because they don't even see him anyway. They don't feel him. But people anticipated that given the knowledge of this man when he was there, the things that he did, people are hoping and praying that God will allow him to come back to complete the good work that he was doing. So it's just a matter of saying that Segun Oni is the most, it's a movement, it's a movement. It's not limited to the elites. It's not limited to the market women. It's not limited to the retired people. It's not limited to the civil servants. It's not limited to teachers. It even includes youth. You can't believe it.
Àtọmọdé àtàgbà ta ló níbò. Ekiti kété nílé lóko. Tẹ́ bá ti rí SDP ó ní kẹ́ dìbò fún l'Ekiti. Kò lè sí calamity bí Ṣẹ́gun dá gómìnà l'Ekiti. Ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pé l'Ekiti Ṣẹ́gun Oni ló lè ṣe bẹ́bẹ́.
APC came about by the conglomeration of different ideological groups. The ACN, as they were called then, the CPC, to any of the so-called ACN people, CPC was an ideological, a conservative, but they came together. So in this case, most of the people who are now coming to SDP are not too far apart in terms of ideology. I will also said there will be a time that the good in this side will come together, the bad will be in the other side. I believe that is the synthesis that we are now seeing in our own. The dialectics, he calls it. And from what we are seeing now, good people from PDP are now coming to join SDP. The good people from APC are now coming to join the SDP. I am not saying there are no bad people. There are still some leftovers in the PDP or in the APC, but I can say with some level of what I'm saying and what I'm observing in terms of the personnel that have come together to form this SDP or to come together to be members of this SDP, that we have some reasonably progressive people. And when I say reasonably progressive, many of us have background in the so-called progressive, which although I have my differences with some of these people talking about progressive. A progressive governor that cannot pay salary is not progressive. Any governor that pays salaries, that takes care of the masses, to me, it's a progressive. But in these countries, some people, because they have that, because they say they belong to a particular party, therefore they are progressives. Obishore is progressive today because he's the secretary of APC. Obisore was bad yesterday because he was in the PDP. Abeshi is progressive today because he's a minister in the APC federal government. But Abeshi was bad when he was governor of Rivers State for 8 years. And you can look at all of them, even in this state. Just because they move from one, they symbolically move from one party to the other, they now have a different coloration. You now call them progressives. They are no longer conservatives. To me, there is no ideological divide among the Nigerian political parties. Even in terms of personnel, you go to where you think your interests are going to be served. And that is the essence of politics. There was a time, I understand, all the Nigerian state governments were giving about 80.91 billion to settle some outstanding payments to their workers. I don't know what happened to Ekiti, own share of that money. Maybe they didn't cover Ekiti. It is the government that will tell the people. How much did we pay, used to construct in Yado Road? And to me, any governor who does not concentrate part of his policies towards the masses, to me, cannot claim to be a progressive. As the leader of the party, the community, I believe I'm doing my best to play the role that I'm supposed to play. Play in the sense that if you don't have a leader, you never have followership. And you do have a leader who is committed. And to that extent, I believe I am very committed to this singular election.
The government responded to the criticism of Segun Oni over the sacked EXU workers that the candidate of the SDP is ignorant of the actions taken by the university, and that the university is not directly controlled by the state government, that it has its council.
Who is following who? What's the difference between 6 and half a dozen? When the government is saying they don't control the university, who appointed the vice chancellor? Who appointed members of the council that is referring to? Why did he not appoint somebody like me as a member of council? Why is it that he appointed his surrogates as member of the university council or members of his party? We know all of them who are there. So he cannot exonerate himself. No government can exonerate itself from the activities of their proxies. That is the truth. The Ekiti State government cannot say that it does not know. And the vice chancellor at a point, and I think I heard this through some of my friends in the place. The vice chancellor told he told the congregation at one of their meetings that the decision was taken by the state government. So it is now between the vice chancellor and the state government. Let us know who took the decision. All I know is that no vice chancellor in the present setting in Nigeria. We are not talking of 1960s where universities were universities. The vice chancellor of EXU recently, when he went to register for APC, he showed his registration membership to the whole world. To me, as a former ASU chairman, it was in that university, as a former ASU chairman in that university, as a former member of council in that university, as a foundation member of that university, I felt embarrassed that a vice chancellor can go and register into a political party, APC, and he was so naive to show his membership on the pages of newspaper. And the same government is now telling us that it is the vice chancellor that took the decision, not him. That it is the council that took the decision, not him. What is the difference between the vice chancellor, the council, and the government? Because the government appointed them, and they are all appointees of government anyway. And no vice chancellor can do anything as critical as that, to sack even a single member of staff without some recourse to those people. That's why when you see some of these good vice chancellors, they quote, there was one who was there before in the same EXU, that the state government then, Fayoshe, ordered them to do some things, and the vice chancellor told him that he was ready to resign rather than do it. And at the end of the day, they left him. So it is the fallacy of the highest order that the government can claim that they don't know how these people were sacked. Okay, when the case went to court, the government was joined as a co-respondent. They did not go to court and say, no, we are not part of this. But the court gave a ruling. What Segun Oni was saying is that they should obey court ruling. Segun Oni was not even querying the procedure. He was not saying whether it was right or wrong. He was saying that in a country that is supposed to be democratic, the rule of law by a democratic government must be obeyed. And he said the state government should obey the judgment or the ruling of the National Industrial Court in respect of this. And the case even went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal also affirmed the earlier decision that the people should be reinstated. So what Segun Oni was saying to any plain and honest-minded person is that Ekiti State government should obey and comply with the ruling of the court in terms of these people who were sacked. They did not query them whether they were part of it. Now they are saying they are not part of it. But let's forget about who was part of it. Whether you are right or wrong, the court has now decided that this is what should be done. And Segun Oni was telling them, please, for God's sake, in the name of democracy, in the name of constitutional law, in the name of rule of law, please obey the court ruling. That's all. And they are supposed to have called them, but they are not willing, because the case is already a political war. It has hanged on them, it's going to hang on them forever.
In this campaign, what are going to be the major issues?
The major issues are clear. You see, when you are a government, you are supposed to serve the people. The issues are very clear. On the national level, you don't even need anybody to preach to you. You know what is the price of everything in town now. Unfortunately or fortunately, APC is the one in the center. So they have to bear the brunt of what is happening. I mean, the APC in Ekiti State, they cannot run away from the fact of what is happening at the federal level. Education is going to be at the center. The economy of the state. The way they treat our retired people is going to be at the center. And a lot of things that will be brought up. When the campaign starts, it will be able to open up Pandora's. Hospitals, roads, all these are going to be at the center. Who did the better roads or the best roads? Who provided the best services? Who did this, who did that? Take somebody who spent 8 years, the two of them, Fayose and Fayemi. Calculate all the things they did on road. Take the 3.5 years of Segun Oni. Compare it with what Fayose did for 8 years. Compare it with what Fayemi did for 8 years. Then you should be able to know that the facts are there. That will be glaring to the people. And the people are clamoring for Segun Oni not because they are stupid, not because they are not knowledgeable. They have been able to do a mental comparison of what has happened, physical one, based on facts, not on fictions, of what happened when he was there and when these people governed the state.
SDP, ilé wọlé délé Ekiti o, abọ́lọ́wọ́ ibi finally o, tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú ọmọlúwa. Ilé wọlé dé SDP, for you job opportunity o, Ekiti to have everybody o, tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú ọmọlúwa.
Judging that the situation when Segun Oni was there, especially financial situation or economic situation in Nigeria, at the time he came on board the first time, was different from the situation now. How confident or comfortable are you that he's still going to be able to do magic?
Well, it's an issue of management. I can have 5 naira, and you can have the same 5 naira. You can do 1 or 2 things with yours. Segun Oni didn't have the best in terms of financial provision, but he was able to manage what was available. He was able to do it in a way that some leakages. Irú àwọn contractors, Segun Oni, to the best of my knowledge, kò sí contractor kan tó lè jáde lédi pé when he was there for 3.5 years, ipò gbà kọ́bọ̀ lọ́wọ́. We know the phenomena in Nigeria today, and Ekiti is part of Nigeria. Contractor kan kó tó ṣiṣẹ́ àti gbáyé kọ́. There are so many roads awarded in Ekiti, especially township roads. Mo mọ̀ nǹkan tó yẹ kó ti award lẹ́ẹ̀mejì tí ò sẹ́ni tó ṣe up to today, and the contractor that vamoosed. Segun Oni will not do that. Owó tó bá rí a manage in a way. Kì í ṣe pé already inestimable bond nígbà yẹn, kì í ṣe pé owó ẹ̀ wà inelastic tí ó. He was able to manage what was there. People who served him, they knew that this man was frugal towards the public. A lot of us complained, but today we are thanking God that he was able to do those things, because tí ó bá ṣe kò sẹ́ni tó lè pè padà. So whatever resources he has, given his own ideological preference or personal preference, not even ideological. His own ways of life, the ways he sees life. Governor made a low in Nigeria tí ó lọ abroad during his ebi èkó tó bá ṣe parí swearing báyìí ló ti lọ. A lọ lo 2 weeks, a lọ rest ní Dubai àbí kó lọ sí US. I can't remember any date. Gbogbo pé Segun Oni lọ sí London lọ fún tọ́gbà tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀. I can't remember, maybe there was, but I know he didn't. I know some of our governors were in Atlanta, and I met a few of them there. And Irun Kome, Unkogo State, Lord. But if a governor does not involve in those frivolities, he'll be able to have reserve to do things that are pro-people. And that is the difference between him and some others.
Ekiti nílé lóko ẹ̀tẹ̀ka ìdìbò fẹ́ gbẹ̀lẹ́ṣin. Segun Oni ti dé, àtúnṣe Ekiti ló wọlé dé. Ọmọlúwàbí ọmọ tán sọ dé ló wọlé dé. Ekiti nílé lóko ẹ má dá bára jà. Ìjọba tí kò bẹ́ wá o ẹ jẹ́ ká dára gbà o. Segun Oni ti dé, àtúnṣe Ekiti ló wọlé dé. Iná máa wà, omi máa dé, ìtàlíṣ owó máa pé.
Look at the man in Bodo. They're having the same resources. I've never been to Bodo, but what we are reading in the newspapers is that the man is doing well in terms of pro-people policies. That's the difference between Segun Oni, Fayose, and Fayemi. So whatever is going to come, I'm sure he has told us he's going to do certain things. Our retired people, they will enjoy. And the major areas of our life, he says the government will touch them. And I'm sure he will touch them. How many governors did they award 1 million scholarship for students? I don't know whether you have heard about it. How many? Because there is no kickback from all these kinds of spending. Many governors who didn't share it, anything returned. Because to buy for 20 people, the 1 million scholarship, that's 20 million. It goes, it doesn't come back. Master's degree students, 500,000. Many undergraduate scholarships. These are areas. So you check what the not only might you they expect anything in return. And I'm saying it. I want to challenge anybody in any contractor to share Ekiti Ko'ya because contractors are flexible politically. I'm sure by now many of them are already with these people. Let them come out and say Segun Oni collected 500,000 from me for a project that I did in so and so place. I'm not sure you can get any.
Kò calamity, bí Segun da gómìnà l'Ekiti. Ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ gbé l'Ekiti, Segun Oni ló lè ṣe bẹ́bẹ́.
I don't know how many governors like Robert you today call him me say 20 say Ekiti. We don't want all these governors, all the edifices. Look at the man from Anambra. He barely left the place where he was arrested. And look at the billions they are alleging him to have stolen. And even the man who is APC national chairman now, we read in the paper that he was arrested some years ago. Omishodo was arrested some years ago. Fani Kayode was arrested some years ago. Now they are leaders of APC, and yet APC claims to be a progressive party. Progressivism in Nigeria needs to be redefined.
What is the summary of your message, campaign message, to the electorate in Ekiti?
My message is that they should go for the best. Consider all the antecedents of all the candidates. Look at their records. Look at what they have done and what they may do. Look at how the candidates emerged. You know how the APC man emerged. You know how the other man emerged. Are they democratic? You cannot talk of democracy or that. So my message is that people should use their sense of assessment to look at these people and decide in the greater interest of their children and their grandchildren that are yet to be born. What we do today is going to ramificate on what to happen in the next few years. If our people today take money to vote, they are taking money and they are selling the future of their children and their grandchildren. So my appeal to them is that, yes, these people have said they are coming to spend money. The last count we had is that they are going to spend 20,000 per vote. Where is the money going to come from? Either from the state or from the federal government. These are monies that can be used reasonably to take care of some of our social amenities. Many of our social amenities. So they should consider this and consider the interests of their children. Some of us belong to the going generation, but we should be able to lay the foundation for our children and grandchildren. Most of our children are not proud to be Nigerians. They don't want to come here. There's no security. You know the prices of things outside. Even the things that the ordinary man that's used, like gas. A few months ago, gas was selling for so much. Today, it's about 8,600. It used to be 4,600 about 3 or 4 months ago. How many people can afford it? So we are back to the wood, 19th century Tarokwe. We have surpassed. APs are taking us back there. So we are going to appeal to our people to look at the records of those individuals, the candidates, look at the records of the parties in deciding whom they want to vote for, and look at the future of their children and those yet to be born.
G on the beat.
Segun Oni ni ṣe kó dúró. Àtọmọdé àtàgbà ta ló níbò. Ekiti kété nílé lóko. Tẹ́ bá ti rí SDP ó ní kẹ́ dìbò fún l'Ekiti. Kò lè sí calamity bí Segun dá gómìnà l'Ekiti. Ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pé l'Ekiti. Segun Oni ló lè ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀. SDP ilé wọlé dé l'Ekiti o. Abọ́lọ́wọ́ ibi finally o. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú Ọmọlúwa. Ilé wọlé dé SDP for you job opportunity o. Ekiti àtúrà fẹ́ everybody o. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú Ọmọlúwa. Ilé wọlé dé
G on the beat.
Ogún ọdún ajá irin fàájì ní fẹ́ ṣe. Ekiti nílé lóko ẹ̀tẹ̀ka ìdìbò fẹ́ gbẹ̀lẹ́ṣin. Segun Oni ti dé àtúnṣe Ekiti ló wọlé dé. Ọmọlúwàbí ọmọ tán sọ ló wọlé dé. Ekiti nílé lóko ẹ má já bára jà. Ìjọba tí kò bẹ́ wa o ẹ jẹ́ ká dára gbà o. Segun Oni ti dé àtúnṣe Ekiti ló wọlé dé. Iná máa wà omi máa dé. Italis owó máa pé.
Kò lè sí calamity bí Segun dá gómìnà l'Ekiti. Ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pé l'Ekiti. Segun Oni ló lè ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀. SDP ilé wọlé dé l'Ekiti o. Abọ́lọ́wọ́ ibi finally o. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú Ọmọlúwa. Ilé wọlé dé SDP for you job opportunity o. Ekiti àtúrà fẹ́ everybody o. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú Ọmọlúwa. Ilé wọlé dé ẹni tó lè ṣe ẹ ló yẹ ká fún. Ẹni tó ẹ ló yẹ ká bọ̀lá fún. L'Ekiti Segun ni ẹ dìbò fún. Gano Dauti Àníkẹ́ dìbò fún. Bàtẹ́ dìbò wá ti wọlé o. Ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ Ekiti àmàgbàdé o. Segun Oni dé ìré wọlé dé o. Ìré wọlé dé. Kò lè sí calamity bí Segun dá gómìnà l'Ekiti. Ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pé l'Ekiti. Segun Oni ló lè ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀. SDP ilé wọlé dé l'Ekiti o. Abọ́lọ́wọ́ ibi finally o. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú Ọmọlúwa. Ilé wọlé dé SDP for you job opportunity o. Ekiti àtúrà fẹ́ everybody o. Tẹ́ bá tẹ̀ sójú Ọmọlúwa. Ilé wọlé dé
People of the fountain.